And welcome back to the Great Ace Detective Chronicles. To resolve. Sorry about the long wait. Moving is a you know what sometimes. Um, but that said, I hoping today to finish this chapter today, and then tomorrow will be all day will be nothing but the final chapter. I can't believe what just happened. I know. I inquired what the bailiff after the court session was adjourned. And it seems Mr. Vigil was taken to the hospital to recover. Right. 10 years ago now, Mr. Vigil attempted to commit suicide by jumping out the window of the president governor's office. Ever since then, he's completely blocked the memory of those events from his mind. Nobody knew his secret, not his family, not even the man himself. But I forced it out of him in the open. What was it? Was it wrong for me to do that? I overstepped the mark, I wonder. Did I overstep the mark, I remember? Not really. Bruno. Oh, Iris. You were way miles away. Anyway, I brewed a fresh pot of soothing tea for you. Oh, thank you. You and Susie have an exhausted day so far. You haven't. Oh boy. Oh. Thank you, Iris. How thoughtful are you? Did you happen to know where Mrs. Holmes is? When we came out the courtroom back into the defendant's antechamber, he disappeared. Oh no, I don't know. He just suddenly sprang to his feet and left. I said as I must leave. I don't like keep saying that. I wonder if he's pursuing the mystery of the Inspector Greggson's death. Oh boy. Well, you know Hurley's always saying that. There are mysteries in the world that should perhaps never be solved. For construction of a solution comes only at the expense of the destruction of something else. What else? What does that mean? He has a point. Yeah, he knows very well that when you open someone else's wound, you often open your own too. But he can't just take his own advice and leave very well alone. Solving mysteries is too important. That's so true. That's what I like about Hurley after all. I suppose that's a lot of great detective in some ways. So then, let's have tea and I'll give you a hand. Oh, do you have time, Iris? Yes, I finished the month's manuscript at last, but barely a day to spare before the deadline. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. A brand new story, Adventures of Mr. Holmes. You know, I always hide Hurley's violin in the days before the deadline. Oh, ooh, you do, of course, Mr. Holmes. And you wonder why it's out of tune a lot. I'm sure that's very wise, Iris. How sensible of you. Now then, my dear fellows, let's make a plan of action before we continue our investigation. Well, I'm already past the trophy for this, but I still want to check anyway. do this. Oh, not do that. Morning strike. So, how did it go while in the port this morning? Well, still don't know the truth about what really happened, but one thing's incredibly clear. One of our Z's definitely didn't do it. Oh, goody. Yes, that's right. We managed to uncover several new facts as well. Oh, really? And there was another development too. Yes, it's quite clear now. The Cosmos Son is not himself. The way he's acting, it's almost as if he's possessed. I know, I mean, at the end of the proceeding earlier, he's always a bloodhound, like a bloodhound, by the way he's chasing down Mr. Vigil's past. He's not normally that so merciless to persist. What's going on with his head? I wonder. I really need to sit down and contemplate and try to understand what's going on. So, if Gregson was really murdered the day before his body was discovered, then Lord Von Zeus has to be innocent, you see. What? The day before? Well, that should be easy, though, to work out, just by examining the corpse, surely. Yes, you would expect so, but curiously, the time of death was incurred in the autopsy report. That is curious. There are still unanswered questions about Lord Von though, aren't there? Do you mean, I mean what he's doing on President Suite the day that the first place? According to the man's testimony, he said he was investigating Mr. Gregson, didn't he? It turns out the little room was actually Inspector's office. Oh, that sounds like it's marking a wonderful devil's plot. But the way that the notice board in here was covered in all the particular papers about cases linked to the Reaper, I'm starting to get a bad feeling about all this. Oh dear, that sounds more like so horrible and devilish. Yeah, being wrong. Well, we'll start by looking into Gregson's movements lately. His movements. I never imagined I have to be investigating the inspector's movements. Well, according to his entry in his diary, he was carrying out an incognito investigation of the Red-Headed League the day before his death. Oh, you mean he was doing the same as Hurley? Well, Mr. Soames was trying to apply, whereas Mr. Inspector was doing some event supposed to be an investigator. I do wish it would have been the other way around. Touche. Anyway, it turns out that Inspector who went to investigate the Red League that day wasn't actually Gregson at all. It was Mr. Virgil, in possession of Gregson's identification. You know what looks like to me? Establishing an alibi. Oh my, yes, you're absolutely right, Iris. But why would Gregson need an alibi? But it appeared that the inspector had something to do with what he wished to keep secret. I don't believe it. I always thought he was just a harmless lover of the fish and chips. He still is. But perhaps they were seasoned with something a little more potent than salt and vinegar. Touché. I think perhaps we shouldn't try to move away from food analogies. Well, anyway, Lord Van felt up to needing to investigate Mr. Gregson. I agree. We must try to find out what he knows. Vigil, you say? Is that the name of the lady who came to visit Hurley yesterday? Yeah, that's right. to ask Mr. Solms if he would help her find her husband. Only Mr. Solms completely passed the buck to us. Actually, didn't you say that Mr. Virgil had been taken to the hospital? Do you think you know which one? It's St. Signer. Oh boy, we're visiting this place again. I'm starting to wonder if all the hospitals in London are closed down, or there's only one hospital in London. But that's amazing, Bruno. You have found Lady's husband already. Well, I suppose I have by accident. And 10 years ago, Mr. Virgil was the chief warder at the prison. He was responsible for overseeing the professor's incarceration. Oh, so then when the convicted step, he was held responsible and immediately dismissed. Something I really don't want to grow up. There's more. 10 years after that, he was abstinently working as a parlor. He's also had another job, secret job. He was also paid to be Gregson's. Was paid by Gregson to be a stand-in to impersonate the inspector. Impersonate Gregson? But why? I have absolutely no idea. Jeannie was right. I was starting to think about all else for no good. Including you. Oh, I haven't paid any for. That means he has ties to the professor and the Inspector Gregson. I think we ought to pay Mr. Virgil, don't you? At the St. Signers it is. Well, it's clear what we need to do, isn't it? Let us escape, my dear fellows. Oh, Iris, you're even more enthusiastic than usual. If there's anyone's gonna hide my special was I'm thinking that's more of a water gun than a thing. That water pistol. It's full of piping hot special blend of mine. That's quite sure to be a very effective. I'd better be careful not to hide anything. Touche. Well, it feels strange Mr. Solms is nowhere, but still, let's go see what we can find out. Yes. Let's move. Head over here. We'll head over here first, and then we'll... Oh boy. No arguments? No arguments, prosecutor, sorry. You will continue the trials exactly as instructed. Is that clear? Perfectly. It's Cosmos. Divine Lord Strongheart, by the sound of it, we never did know when to back down. On our way now, so my lord. Kazuma. He just left without saying a word. Yes, what are you doing? Oh, well, I was hoping to ask you a few questions, if you wouldn't mind. I wanted Venezig's trial concluded today. But prosecutor studies on the royal inquiries are going to take longer than necessary. I want to welcome inquiries. As a result, I'm losing even more precious time. Currently 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 41 seconds, 42, 43. We get it! It's a miraculous not 5 minutes. Anyway, I can't let the man obviously be in the van that put me on. Any information. Does the prosecutor thoroughly believe that Lord Van Six is the Reaper? I wouldn't know. It was 10 years ago. It was a fateful close trial that Lord Francisque made a name for himself among the Judiciary. But the next trial he fought, he lost. It meant the ringleader of the criminal organization acquired thanks to all the jurors were under duress. That's awful. That man's freedom was short-lived. He lasted just 3 days. Yes, let me see. He died in the rock side at his place, I believe. At work, I believe. Correct. That was in regulation of the Reaper of the family. People believe Ron Seeks is responsible? He was brought to the trial himself, but it was shown to have no hand in accident. So he must have had a solo alibi. Nevertheless, the mysterious death must continue. In total, 16 persons perished under unusual circumstances, ostensibly by the hands of the Reaper. That's a long run coincidence. Well, the Reaper's true identity may be revealed by this world. And the impact of revelation would have written public cannot be understood. That's why it's close trial. Precisely. Close trial. The country hasn't seen a close trial in 10 years. So the last one was the professor, the trial against Jim Sodi. Correct. Oh boy. We heard that originally. You were going to prosecute that trial yourself, Sweetheart. When Zeke's entreated me to relinquish the prosecution to him, that he might avenge his brother's death. And here we are 10 years later. But the son of the man had Zeke said, damn, now looking back at avenge his father's death in the same way. They do say they're going around, they do say what goes around comes around. However, it would seem that the new young prosecutor is harboring some ulterior motives as well. Cosmo is. Like the organization, I like my organization run smoothly in an exact manner that I prescribe. All but the giant clock here, I won't tolerate a single cog out of place, out of step, like with the others. Oh boy. Oh, so that's what all the gears are up there for. If the young man refused to mesh with other parts of my great machine, I will be forced to take steps. What do you mean? Oh boy. Not something which you need to concern yourself. In any case, all your questions will be answered tomorrow. Oh boy. Now, I also have asked you to excuse me. At this moment, I've been delayed for attending my next meeting precisely 3 hours. Oh my, that's a long time. I'll hold you entirely. Oh, even though the Marcos man, this is. I wonder if you might agree to us talking with Foster Sodi. Discussion between the prosecution outside the department is generally frowned upon. However, I will make an exception in this case. Now go. You can find him in his office. Thank you. Let's go see him at once. Sonaro. Rosalind is my best friend in the world. But I'm really not sure I know I'm about to talk to him at the moment. Check on Mr. Big Jew before we get on moving. Okay, so he's not in here. Check the prison. Unless Ace is reading a look. Seems like he wants visitors, does he? He must have noticed we're here early. What do you need? Perhaps not. Huh? Sorry. I apologize. So what do you... I must say... You... Oh, I see. Yes. It's sardonic. Ironic thinking. For me, such a... like me... I'm not gonna say that word. I suppose... it's retribution for having played a part of the Reaper all these years. Played a part. Reaper's identity. You once told me you gladly allowed people to believe you were the Reaper because it helped reduce the amount of serious crime that took place in London. If keeping quiet and playing the part benefits the cause, a cause I myself committed to pursue, then why would I choose to say anything? But the henchman of the criminal killed by the Reaper attacked you. You were the only one the other day. And that was just a recent attempt on your life, wasn't it? Someone is clearly profiting from your silence about this. Someone is using you. Believe me, ever since the Reaper first appeared, I've been doing the utmost to expose them, or rather, the organization. The organization? It's a whole organization. It's inconceivable that all those incidents were orchestrated by one man. No, the Reapers always appeared to be very accurate information about the accused in each case, which only means somebody in Scotland Yard is involved. Someone you mean it's taken many years, but I finally identified. Oh boy, Iris doesn't like that. Gregson, the Reaper. Oh wow. Okay, there's a surprise. So the reason you were investigating Gregson is because you intended to expose him as the Reaper. As I said, the Reaper of the Bailey is no single person. It's a highly secret organization tied close to Scotland Yard. There is no doubt that Gregson was a key member of the organization. I don't believe it. You're saying Gracie was behind all these awful parties when you were there? Gregson didn't do the dirty work himself. Oh. He was a tactician. His job is correctly investigate the marks of the plots of the assassin. In order to do the rousing suspicion, he regards the former alibi, which is where the ritual came in, posing as the inspector. Ritual knows nothing of the Reaper, but the room you rent in Presidency is almost certainly the headquarters of operation. Gregson would have met the assassins there for briefing, so he didn't actually know who carried out the killings then. Actually, I do have a name. You what? Well, that name of the man truly identified the Reaper already then. Or, if I can name the woman. Oh, she's a young name by name. Assassin. Oh, boy. Hello, Miss Brett. Brett? Hello, Miss Brett. What? Sid. So that Brett is assassin. Your name is terrifying killer. I only too well. She came to Japan as a visiting student and murdered Dr. Express. Dan says it seems that the diplomatic protection would help her escape Japan and conviction. And the mysterious woman herself was murdered at a Summerside Beach house. Oof. That one was actually the Reaper of the family? Mr. Naruto, I think perhaps this is the place to discuss. No, of course not. Would you mind? In fact, she killed... She says no. I said... I should have thought of them. Yes, I agree. There's a name I would not expect. Kazuma, isn't it? Isn't it? Kazuma Isagi? He's your friend of yours. My best friend. He's the whole reason why I came to came to Britain. It was all on his merits. I have nothing but respect for him. Yes, I understand that only the very best students are selected to be such opportunities. I had a fine demonstration of how sharp he is in the proceedings earlier today. He missed nothing. In fact, his flawless performance is what reminded me of his father, Genshin, the professor. It's true that the atrocities at the time, aristocracy at the time, was the root of enormous, grave social society problems. They were abusing powers, playing with the common man as pawns in economy and war. In many ways, Asogi was carving out a cranker from society that we British couldn't deal with ourselves. Oh, I see. But that's precisely why it makes sense. Clan Vizis was noble, an upstanding man. He wasn't corrupt. Why? Oh, I'm not gonna say that word. Afraid of having one save mine. He saved your life. How did that happen? It was 10 years ago, a foggy night. It was the professor's final strike had sent a wave past panic in the capital, so Clint and Zeke had already been killed at this point then. Genshin and I were walking down some back streets at the late hour. Of course, at that point, I had no idea the true nature of the man on my side. All of a sudden, don't make compete. You're coming with us. We're surrounded. All our assailants were armed with pistols, faces of scarred. Clint was not only from a noble heritage, but he was also a brilliant prosecutor as well. The scum of London hated the sight of him, and they had no sympathy for his younger brother either. Not that I blame him. I'd been targeted several times before already. Yeah, it's Clan Zeke's alright, we got him. I only hear murmuring amongst themselves. I knew they were after me. But when I thought I'd come, if I let you kill them, if I let them kill you, Clint will never forgive me. It was Asagi's voice whispered in my ears. After that, I don't remember exactly what happened. The next thing I knew, there was silence all around. Vincent lay on the cobbled street. Blood was seeping on his left hand. He shielded me. 2 days later, they arrested him on suspicion of being London's most notorious mass murderer ever, the Professor. How awful of you for you. All at once, I lost my brother I revered, and a foreign friend I held such high regards. I'm so sorry, Lord Aziz. Oh boy. That's the end of my miserable tale. I never thought I'd recount it to anyone. Well, thank you for the confiding me to me. The Professor, the Reaper, and Inspector Gregson. I wonder how immediately related they all are. I still can't believe that Gregson is essentially with the Reaper. Great, giving assassination to Giselle Brett. Is it Naruto? Let's go. Oh. I thought it was yesterday. And I think again today. This place is it's so princely. It's a wild guess, but I had a feeling you think the same tomorrow too. It's easy. Fire fragrance over there. Whatever they serving. What did he say? Would you look here? This is not a spectacle. Mother. Oh, it's you, today. Oh, lovely. Hi, charming young lady. Are you in your... Oh, really? You're the author of the adventure songs, aren't you? That's me. I was Wilson, at your service. Liz has a wonderful friend here at last, you know. Well, Miss Wilson, I must say, I read your regularly and with much interest. This is actually Liz Mother's songs, you know. Oh, such a well, perhaps there's gone some ways of explaining that bright look in your eyes. Please don't do that. You wouldn't be so smiling so early if you knew just how bright she is, believe me. Now then, young Sohardo, it's a pleasure seeing you earlier. I say, it was truly exemplary performance. Oh, thank you very much. Although I'm fairly short of your mortified Kazama. No, please don't misunderstand. It was you who was suppressing me, really. You definitely didn't miss a step against Asagi, and we all know how capable he is. It really have matured into something fine defense lawyer and last stand extraordinary. It's very quiet to say so. It's really nice to hear. I say, what I saw in court today confirmed what I've been hoping for. That favor I mentioned yesterday, I trust you haven't forgotten. Oh, no, you didn't mention something to you. But first, we have something over our father. Of course. Shall we take a tea and discuss it further? I wonder if their judge or go heck on. Do you know about the so-called Reaper of Bailey? I've heard rumors. Some members of the Justice Council explained it to me yesterday. Of course, when I was visiting a student here in London, the Reaper has yet to emerge. Right, he didn't appear until after the case when he was visiting students and returned home. One of my seats who was in the office today. That was Barack's younger brother, Clint, I believe. That's right. And he's known throughout London as the Reaper. You've heard, but the truth is, he wasn't him behind those mystery deaths. It was somebody else. I see. So what you're saying is there's some professional killer out there? Exactly. Someone by the name of a Sin, in fact. I beg your pardon? Did you say a Sin? You mentioned just a vet is the woman who was responsible for the killing of my great friend? Oh no. It was... Professor Megatova, I think perhaps we shouldn't discuss this right now. Because the friend he's talking about... And that's not something I want Iris to find out. Not like this, anyway. For a while, have you? Guilty. Guilty is ringing in my ear. No, now you mention it, I haven't seen him since this morning either. I suppose since the symposium opens was postponed, we'll have to go to explore the Great Sleep. That reminds me of something you mentioned yesterday. Judge Jericho had once been in the dock himself. Ah, yes, he was tied up to that cursed trial. The closed trial of Cosmo's father. Sergo was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and actually managed to break the witness stand. Oof! Oof! Oh my. Well, I mean, have you seen his size? He ain't wrong. He has also some contemporary words about Britain's empires, for which he was charged. Poor dear, although it was wonderfully easily to imagine him doing it. Well, it's actually alright in the end. He was acquitted and returned home with the band together. Thank goodness. Oh yes, talking of Cicero. I have a copy of the photograph we took together here yesterday, please. Oh, what a lovely picture. This is how we remember it. None of us had the idea of what was coming when we took what that, did we? No, that's true. A favor? So you mentioned that favor like you asked me. Well, this faithful trial that you're fighting, one way or another, it will be long over before long. And what is it? I'd like to ask you a compliment back. You want me to do what? Father, what's the meaning of this? Susano, you should understand. You seen how our courts work firsthand. Japan's judicial system is in its infancy, especially when it comes to defense. Oh, you mean the Supreme Court judicial spite needs of a good defense lawyer, and as soon as possible, whether quite urgently, in fact. But I've never been to London. I've been in London in a year yet. I read of Susano's report. I'm well aware of your extraordinary talent. Having seen you in action with my own eyes earlier today, there's no question. You, Naruto, are the command the country our country needs. Oh, you really leaving then, Naruto? How am I supposed to do, Father? You came here to serve as a service. Oh yes, she's supposed to talk. Our government is still in the process of deciding how to deal with its situation, though. You've already chosen your own path, Otto, and I choose you to trust your judgment in this matter, so. Ah, Father. Please, if I were you, don't look down so downcast. It's merely suggestion, you understand? I hope you are honest, but I won't force you. But I ask you to consider it come decision time tomorrow. Yeah, it's alright. You won't leave, will you? The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. Until now, I've been trying to do what I believe is Cosmo's will. But it turns out, he's still alive, so where do I leave me? I remember something. Biscuits. The hotel has released this biscuit. That's rather something. She's doing this deliberately. I think I will. Yeah, I think I can purchase them. I have one. Would you like fill-ons? Oh, yes. Yeah, this will leave me on. So that young girl is called Iris Wilson, is she? Yes, that's right. And she's the author of the great detective Holmes. But the name is credential isn't Iris, is it? Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, I know. That's the name of her father's. Her father. John H. Wilson. They deeply embedded the name with all the kindness they showed me. That's why I provide him the. But he was murdered last year. Why is that right? Why would Hand of the Reaper stretch out to Japan? Iris knows nothing about that case, but seems very likely the victim, Dr. Wilson, was her. Well, I can't say that wherever spoken about his family. I don't know if he had a daughter or not, but I think I can say for certain that he was never a great detective's partner. So it could be another Dr. Wilson, you think? Well, John and Wilson are common names, after all. Still, it's probably not to mention the young lady. It's the young lady, we can be sure. Then, well, that's what we thought, yes. I'm back. Good to go. That was quick. Look forward to the next installment, Miss Wilson. Oh, good, please. No time, won't you? Really? Best of luck for tomorrow. And give my suggestions a full consideration, won't you? Yes, I will. Going back home. You know, Cosmo has always been a great deal. My father. So I'm sure he'd love the chance to meet with him about all this. Yes, no doubt. A sin. Of course, it's so obvious. How could I have neglected such a possible maybe point? Ah, Mr. Solms. Harley, where have you been? Why, Dwayne, you all for tea, of course. What an extraordinary question. I didn't notice you at all. No matter, no matter. Anyway, a pressing concern, Mr. Nono. Yes. I must dispatch a telegram to your country at once. It's a matter of urgency. To Japan, you mean? to me, who makes the trust. Quickly, who? Ah, well. My father's just left, so he just sent a telegram to the Imperial release of Japan himself. I see. Well, you look really reliable enough for a bearded fellow. I don't think what father's sports could be considered a bearded or something. There's no matter to lose. I can only as trustworthy as Haven Fog or to see what this is sent. Ah, I will, but what is it? No question at this time. Representative Solo, please. We can always do this pray. For once, my deductions is a wire. That doesn't simply imply that your deductions are normally correct in films. Now then, you may be surprised to learn that I'm a very busy man. I certainly have no time to hide behind the CD. I can't. It needs. So that's what joining us with T means. I have leave sent in your hands, my dear fellow. Wait a minute. He just ran off, didn't he? At a pace. He did it. And left a big bill for his tea behind too. Of course. I must catch up with father and tell him once. I'll run the golf cab straight away. And there's me thinking everything would be clamoring to pay Mr. Show's bill. Trying to get that. Take this area. Miss Rhoda. Ah, the lawyer. Hello again. Are you feeling better now, Mr. Mitchell? Yes, thank you. Somewhat better. Sorry to have the cause to trouble you. I mean, it's because of me. If I had exposed your secret and forced you to remember things you were obviously trying to forget. The prosecutor was here a few minutes ago, too. He dismissed him. Oh, Cosmo beat us to it. He said he had as much same as you. He was very apologetic. But the truth is, I brought this upon myself. Please don't think like that. Keeping it from Abby, my wife, and all those years, I've carried such a great sense of guilt, but there's not worse of it. Over time, I obviously came to decide to deceive myself as well. So, not gonna lie, you mean about your dismissal. Not gonna lie, I kind of like his gossip personality a little more better, not gonna lie. Looking back now, I'm beginning to think that perhaps Inspector Grayson didn't stumble across me by accident at all. I mean, he's compassionate, so genuinely for acting as a stand-in. He's clearly concerned about my well-being and doing what he could help. So perhaps Mr. Grayson knew exactly what had became Mr. Rich all along. So just deserves for 10 years of lies and deception, but it wasn't me who helped the professor escape the 10 years. It wasn't me. I swear it's true. Oh, Mr. Bezel. I'm sure you'd rather not drag up more further from the past in time, but Is it possible? Could you tell us exactly what really happened? I want to. I need to get off my chest. I just want someone to tell me what should I've done. Gregson's request. Inspector Gregson was obviously engaged in the special operations of sorts. He was investigating something that even Scott and Lard couldn't even know about. Details of the Reaper's marks, yes. It was when he had carried out those investigations, I would take his identification and impersonate him. He pretended to be a Spectre and carry out investigations on his behalf. Oh, never a common street peddler couldn't he possibly carry out proper police investigation. All I would do is go to the special location and make a little hoo-ha. Just something to leave an impersonation. Though even there wouldn't think a great detective called Gregson was there. Oh, that's what you were doing on the day prior to the incident. Yes, he asked me to make an appearance at the park at Lime Street for the Legend League. So as usual, I'm back so I would be vocal about my presence. So back then you were taken prisoner by those red-headed fraudsters. Yes. So you were always the main point of showing Gregson's abdication and generally being loud. That's what Inspector Gregson told me to, yes. Well, that's one way of becoming a legendary detective, I suppose. Not good. A good one, though. Oof. Yes, you know. Oh, I suffered bruising around my neck at their hands. And I then followed by the day kept released at me. Well, returning Inspector's identification to you, however. I arranged to meet at Fresno Street at 5 that day. I would report back to the Inspector, but the agreed time, that's when I heard the gunshot. It was midnight at 12 years ago. 10 years. The time is scheduled for the execution. But the professor execution never actually took place, did it? Or rather, the execution itself must have been used as a plan of escape. I heard Bear imagine what's plan was. Barclay is renowned for being the highest security prison in this country. Everything went in and out of the place we were searched multiple times. But there wasn't one notable exception, or rather, one notable loophole. That something was never questioned. I have a feeling I know what that loophole was now. The coffins into which the bodies of the executed convicts were placed, correct? Yes. Once the coroner had confirmed the death of the the body was taken to the coffin and immediately buried at a low gate behind the prison. G. Warner at first had signed the necessary papers. After that, no member of staff were permitted to touch the coffin containing the body again. Then, when the execution took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted to be inside the chambers. I could wait to adjust the adjacent room. The goddamn dead. On that occasion, I once had the confirmation. I went to the mortuary and find the long coffin as well, usual. But the procedure was that I would sign the paperwork, having checked the coffin, then nail it shut. For some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut. Oh. I didn't think of any of that at the time. I assume that my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I arrived. So, you mean the coffin contained? Yes, I can only imagine that Sogi have escaped his execution somehow and arrived inside the coffin. The coffin was taken through the main gate, deposited in the low gate cemetery. Presumably there wouldn't have been enough air inside to breathe for long. In the early hours following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to get it free. But in the end, he was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. What on earth happened in the great cemetery? I'm wondering. I'm afraid I really don't know. All I can say is certainly are two things. Asagli couldn't possibly escape that way without the help of somebody working in the prison. And the other somebody was not me. Obviously, you knew the man did. The professor, Genshin Sogi. Yes, I remember well. In fact, would you mind telling us what you know? Well, having been condemned, he was any contact I had with the man with short arms. After that trial, which was carried behind closed doors, attended only by the elite members of the judiciary, they called for his execution to be carried out the earliest possible opportunity. Outcome of the trial was set from the beginning, wasn't it? It was the time that the diplomacy when Britain and Japan were in the process of signing an important treaty. That means that the potential establishment the case had dealt with swiftly and discreetly. That man had less than a week in total. I was the chief warder, and I oversaw his shortly stay cells and until his final hours. I remember being struck deeply in his noble character and in a great... Well, what do you mean exactly? He was a killer of men, but he was always quite polite. He was a gentleman, in fact, of an intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe that he'd done. So I asked him. Those five members of Atrocity's lives, were you really responsible? I'm guilty of an unthinkable crime, ending another human's life, yes. The following day, the close trial took place. The verdict was no surprise. Guilty. That night, he was brought back to his cell. I saw something unusual. Something unusual? What? The last will and testament of Genshin Soul. Whoa, hello. As I said, it was the night before his trial after he was found guilty. And I was in my rounds of cell and I looked into his cell and I noticed he was seemingly to have a sheet in his hand. His last will and testament, presumably. As soon as he noticed me, he hurried and shoved it back behind. No. Why do you find it so usual? Isn't it normal for a man to write a will when he knows his death is night? Yes, that's true. But there were special conditions in this too, so his incarceration. What sort of conditions? Well, even though he was held in the cell against him inmates, he was allowed to keep his personal effects with him, with one exception. Really, he was allowed to his things, as usual. Of course, he's been convicted of the murder of 5 members of the atrocities, but at the same time, he was a guest in our country in Japan. The powers of were determined that his final days should have been necessarily been uncomfortable. And What was exception, you mean? To the personal effects he was allowed. That's the point. He wasn't permitted to have writing material. Specifically, no pens, no paper. So, he was preventing from leading the written any reconnect words what might happen to him. Yes, that was long before, or I had no idea he attained that paper. Any writing materials would have been confiscated upon his incarceration. As I said, he had his pen and food. Why did you hide behind your back? Please turn it away. This is my lifeline. But, you know, it's against the rules. You're the only person who's seen you really be Alright then. What's on that paper? Oswald Testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now. How could a will be a weapon? I decided to pretend I see nothing and send it back to this well. But then later, it just seemed to vanish without trace. What? What do you mean? It vanished. It would seem that is in the end of the story of the mysterious will. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I just really could not speak for a long time during that time. But man, I feel bad for Kazuma here. Or this. You're safeguarding the soul of the Sagi clan. Well, it's a famous sword. Dad's been in your family for generations. It might ought to be given a chance to rob before you return to it. I said to have him forged by a master swordsman during the second warning state period. But from long lineage, the warrior of wisdom who experienced the swordsman. Well then, you're a chip off the old block, I'd say. This blade is a symbol of the Sagi clan. In honor. Apparently, one of my father's apprentices even took the blade name That's its first name. Really? Karama. It does sound formidable, doesn't it? 16 years ago, when my father was a visiting student here in London, he had a sword or forever by his side, which is why it means so much to me that I have a living by my side now, too. And that is all thanks to you. It was an honor. No, I have preparations for me for tomorrow. Perhaps a little too much. You've changed. Oh, Hellscape, I haven't changed at all. It's you who changed. I completely understand what your resentment is referencing to what happened. But the fact is, those events in this case are, well, unrelated. Is that what you're about to say? Obviously, you should start. What do you mean? Never mind. That man is a Reaper for all reasons that the inspector was killed. I'm going to prove that much is important. Whatever means necessary. Can't let you say that, come on. I know what you're trying to say. Yeah. I have to say, too, as a lawyer. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that I won't be talking to any prisoners in the courtroom. I won't expect it nonetheless. That's all tomorrow then, in the Old Bailey. Alright. We're about nearing the end of this case, to be honest. The looks of it. This place is really creepy. You don't say. A lot more creepier than last time. There's a rather pleasing scent of rose in the air. Well, being the dead room. The coroner probably needs a bold scent like that to mask the odor of death. True. Iris, do you think we could change the subject here? What was that? Oh boy. Dr. Corey? Gory? What? Oh, that noise report. I'm sharpening my tools. I'd be dead meat if I keep it practically even keen edge them on. Right. The following a granular fiber in the dimmers and they start really sharpen scalp. That's like cheese. What do you like the dimmers? Oh yeah, please. I like it. I think I'll like We actually came here to ask you about this. Sorry. He was very good. Sorry. Ah, God. Thank you, T1. There is one thing that the report that caught my attention. You didn't seem to have recorded the time of death. That's not my fault. Oh. So, why did the officer already include that's mostly crucial. I was told not to write it. What? Well, well, Strongheart was there chief officers. He came here. What Strongheart came? He said that the witness statements about the gunshot and the other ones, it was obvious the man was clearly died around 5. That's not the time of death you wrote in the report. You think you didn't write anything? Is there some reason you didn't include it? Alright, Gory. You hid something under long song hearts and you get instructions. Then sooner or later you're going to go. Send by your mother. Give it here then. Huh? She's scrolling. There. You written. What? Indeterminate. What? Also. Indeterminate. What do you mean by that? Why is the time? When the specimen was brought in, it was still fresh. The time of death could easily have been coincidence when the gunshot hurt. But there was one small discrepancy. What discrepancy? There was some fresh fish in the pocket of the specimen's overcoat. And the fish started to rot. What? If the victim was fried, like a fried fish, he presumably would like to eat it before it went off. No. Yes. What are you really trying to say? Alright. It's possible that someone tried to manipulate the apparent time of death. Oh! Is it possible? Yes, it is. Theoretically, if you chill the body in ice, it could delay the onset of putrefaction. That and the overcoat wasn't on the body at the time. Then the fish would have started to rot. But the science is not possible to determine the body was chilled. But the science advanced even through your freeze of corpses. But surely, the chill of corpse would require an enormous amount of electrical refrigerator. And I don't imagine any household in London would equipped with such a device. No, definitely not. But maybe a factory or something split. I don't recall any factories or such like in Chestnut Street. I wonder if the inspector's body had been chilled somehow. What might actually the time of death could have been. Couldn't say for sure. But at the most, it's been late. It have been a day early. No. In other words, it would have been collaborated with your previous seduction or something. If the speculation was killed the day before his body was discovered at a different location. Did you inform us on how of this possibility? He simply said there was no electronic refrigerators at the facility. Oh boy. Oh yes. Another thing. It's something the governor of Barclay told us. He said your mother, or the site, was responsible for confirming the death of the professor at his execution. The professor. Apparently, you've always enjoyed listening to your mother's stories about her work, so. That's not all Mama did. Sorry? My mama carried out the autopsy of the... Wait. Oh, wow. The idea of carrying out the autopsy on the member of the was completely unthinkable back then. But the detective in charge of the investigation instead was a miraculous authorized. The detective being Inspector Grayson, of course. Quite an accomplishment for the man. The autopsy provided one vital clue to the arrest of the killer. This was what it's all had to mean. You know, an amazing observation happened right here in this room. The professor claimed, thanks. Both spent their final moments before burial. I wonder if you tell us more. professor's execution was Mama's first big case. She had to be in attendance at the Barclay execution chamber. And signed a certificate of conviction. But I was the best coordinator in the world, you know. I was so proud of her. The execution didn't really take place. No, and worse still, Mama actually helped with the jailbreak. And I didn't want to know. Oh dear, you're found out recently, I mean. I believed in her, Mama, but I wonder if I'm starting down the same path as her. Maybe because you omitted the time of death in the autopsy, on his autopsy. Because Long Songhart forbade you from including it. Just like Mama, I'm sure she was coerced by somebody too. Yes, that's my feeling as well. There's no doubt there were powerful forces at play 10 years ago. The execution could have been staged with a lot of people at the front knowing about it. Obviously, the president governor must have been in on it as well. The big man with the little hair cuffs, according to what he told us. He's been tricked by the chief warder. He says he knows nothing about it. Of course he said that. I say the same thing. But who's behind the jailbreak? You mentioned the autopsy of Clint Van Sykes. It was the time when carrying out the autopsy, murderers of victims were unusual. It's not very practiced that observed in our country even now. It's turned out that the professor's final victim, and when the autopsy was performed, Mama was present, and although only was as a secondary assistant, the person who was leading the procedure was Dr. Johnny. Oh! Right, my daddy. And then there was another person, the primary assistant. He is a visiting student from the Far East. Wait, a visiting student? It must have been my father, Eugene Mikitova. I had no idea the Professor Mikitova had been involved. But the outcome of that is... Let's discover one final piece. But that's how it came to identify. Do you have to know anything about that piece of evidence? You don't know? Would you like to see the records yourself? What? Wait, that'd be alright. What's the point of keeping the records if people can't look at them? Touche. That would probably be... Ah, thank you. Let's see. Oh, that's strange. What, Mr. Naruto? They aren't here. Nothing under Ramsey. That must be... It must be... Perhaps somebody took them away? No one else is allowed to take documents related to the investigation out of the room. But you're right, they are gone. Oh, when was the last time somebody looked at them? Do you remember? It was... Oh yes, I remember now. It was 2 years ago. A consulting detective came by, stating that he'd like to see the records. No, you don't. Psalms! Oh wow. Warlock Psalms, what's his name? Deep down, I knew that was coming. We all did. Do you think he stole the records? Oh no, surely not. He Irish? Oh boy. Irish. Uh-oh. Well, I hope you don't mind, but what is that? Oh boy. You've been here before, haven't you? Have you, Iris? Yes, 2 years ago when the detective came. You were with them, weren't you? You were living... I don't know. Yeah, sorry. I don't know. Wait, Iris. What's the matter with her? She's behaving really strangely. Oh, in that case, we won't keep you any longer either. It's quite since I had any visitors. It really fun. Yep, I see it too. And it's right here. Trunk wasn't there before, was it? Oh, it appears to be made of metal. There's something very heavy. I wonder who it belongs to. There's something initials look T. Oh, Gregson! Oh, hey, Gina. Oh, Gina. You shouldn't talk to They heard them talking at Scholar. They should be saying to themselves. They're saying that it was the boss who killed all those burglars? All them burglars? You mean the whole Reaper thing? Yeah. Apparently, the boss was investigating stuff that no one else at the Scotland Yard knew nothing about. The stuff to do with the criminals was scot-free. Yes, the one prosecutor, one from Steaks, used bribery and corruption to make conviction. Well, that's obviously it was a woman Reaper giving the orders, weren't they? But why would people suspect Gregson involving? There was this notebook hidden in his office. Oh no, that doesn't sound good. It add details all about the crimes that would have been pegged to the murderers. What? No, did you see it? Did you see that? They wouldn't let me, cause I was just apprentice apparently. But it was me who found it, and it was my boss. That's right. I pretty much nothing about it. I only peeked in what it said, you know, what? Oh, it's ordering. So, you managed to see what was written in bricks and notebook anyway? You wanna see? Have it right on the notebook. Yeah. Dates, times, places, names, all inside the list of them. All details of the word have been done and then delivered. But, good makes fun. Perhaps there's investigation. Exactly, that's what I said. That's what first thing that you thought, right? It happens the full name I recognize. So I recognize everyone. Well, Reaper's targets were almost exclusively known to leaders of London's prisoners terminal. Oh yeah, but this one name was a bit odd. At the end of the list, you mean? Yeah, for sure the date against it was October 31st. Oh, wow. The day before Inspector Gregson was found dead. So, what was the odd name? It wasn't like a name I've seen before. It was something like, it's not good. I've heard. Oh dear. What is it? There's something else too. I don't know what the matter, but the name keeps coming back. Shin. Oh! Did you say Shin? What? What is? One of my six knew the name too. You mentioned her as well. That woman actually did the deed. And now we find out her name appeared in Gregson's secret notebook. Oh boy. I've seen this for a while, you know? Well, of course not. I've been busy, ain't I? Investigating at it. The lads at the yard are trying to trace the boss's movements the day before it happened. The day before, that would have discovered the record. Only the boss didn't go, eh? You found what pretended to be, you know, then you know. Yes, it was Mr. Ritual, actually. Anyway, you ain't the only one that's turned us out. I found my way to results. Of course, Toby. Aw, and the little guy's still wagging his little tail. Oh, not gonna lie, he's cute. Oh, little Toby. He's such a little fake friend. Have you checked out anything yet? What do you think, eh? Of course I have. Yeah, can't you tell the police business in it? Anyway, point is, have you lost? Need any help? Oh my, he's cute. The hellhound. Dina, about your hellhound there? Chief Inspector Toby, Jimmy, the pride of the forces. Well, lie, this little guy's cute. In Japan, police dogs means quite something different altogether in those involved in crime. But here in Britain, it's a wonderful companion scene, a fair canine. It should be, after all, great British identification it was the other day. It was Toby who managed to locate Trevor's hook shot. But maybe it's time for another demonstration of what Super Dog can do. Maybe something the Chief Inspector could catch a scent of, I wonder. I think it's this.
Take that!
That was a little lower. That's enough. I think it's time you told us the truth about that hunk. It wasn't what it looked like it was. What are you talking about? I know what's going through your head, and it ain't. Alright then, what did happen? Well, like I said before, we're trying to trace the boss's movements. So I let Toby have a whiff of the boss's overcoat. As soon as I was done, it went off shot after shot. And straight to that sandwich. To the back, not a back. So no. I believe Dean means the witness. Oh, I forgot about that. Sandwich. Yeah, I believe the difference between the one word is this monster trunk. Oh boy. You mean what you heard sounds like a gunshot all piled in. Exactly. He nabbed it from the scene. Goodness. Now, me and the chief inspector grabbed sandwich a good grilling, and you know what it said? I thought it might fetch a good price and the chap wouldn't be needing it anymore. But all I did was check it. Selling across the stuff before. Oh, Miss Venus wasn't the only meddler one to meddle with the scene of crime then. A good day. So anyway, that's what happened. And it's a pretty decent trunk, so I figured I might as well make use of it. It's here to somewhat wrong with it, eh? Well, maybe you and Mr. Sandwich are trying to find the answer to that question together. Aw, I gotta like Toby's tail wagging cutely. I think perhaps the trunk should be turned over more, please. We're talking about. I am pleased. Nina, if you wouldn't mind, should we maybe examine it? Yeah, alright then. Thank you. Let me get the detail record. Well, that happened. Now, there is a trophy once we... something really quickly, so I'll be right back. You really think it's irrelevant there? Yeah, you earned that one. Did you ring yet? Yeah, no ice, so let's press sugar water. Sugar water. Sugar water, Naruto. It's a first aid treatment. Mark on the top. Oh, thank you. Let's make tea and we're going. Of course. No sugar in the paint. The bomb on my head is stopping sweetly. Enough, don't worry. Alright. First things first. Want to get this trophy out of the way. Gina, I'm really sorry. Ain't that nothing you asked me a year ago? The cops couldn't care all for a guy here. But we gotta have the police. We need to catch the bludgers. Well, us deliver, we can go about our business, please. Wait, sorry? I didn't think we haven't heard that properly. He said it was teaching me everything I needed to know about to be a detective. But all I got around showing me the best the Fleming chips are. Actually, that reminds me. Drakeson said he was supposed to go to Ferris in the near future, didn't he? Something from it? Oh no, I'm sure I'm reading the Monster things. It's just that timing seems very coincidental. You know, the boss was acting strange recently. Like, he was right in a rush. And there we go. Best chips in town trophy. So but that, sorry about that. Hey, can you please not leave stuff like that on my chat, please? Please. Oh, thank you for your concerns, Mr. Phones. There are so many had come out from the dead. You mean the professor? Fortunately, I see your prized throat is unscathed. The stiff, tough scholar, yours obviously afford the welcome protect. Was I close to death? All I remember is the dog was licking my face over and over and over again. Well, if you wish to avoid such troubles in the future, a little mustard spread on the cheeks would do the trick. I think it would be a balance of sweetness of your mayonnaise, right? Now I'm serious. Oh boy.
Schwarzbiergebot, Boden wie ein Feuerwerk, den Schlund des verbrannt, ach Hopfen.
I don't know what's going on here. How
Her mit dem Knacker.
no, it's the old gentleman folk song. Rather fine rendition, I think. That's the least of my concerns. Iris. Iris, what's the matter? Who is this?
Und auf den ersten Streich alle
Iris, is he even listening? Excuse me, sir. I apologize for troubling you with this. Listen, there's anything against this.
dem Schwarzbiergebot Feuerwerk, den Schlund es mir verbrannt.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the song is such. And then. the governor channels to oh. Anyway, I highly doubt that's a thing. I highly doubt that.
Mit dem Schwarzbiergebot brodelnd wie ein Feuerberg, den Schlund es mir verbrannt, ach Hopfen deine Wut. Her mit dem Knacker ich befahl, hat wie ein Streich, alle Seiten des Terris weh oder an die Wut. Her mit dem Schwarzbiergebot, brodelnd wie ein Feuerberg, den Schlund es mir verbrannt, ach Hopfen deine Wut. Her mit dem Knacker ich befahl, hat wie ein Diamant. Zahnenzweie es brach, o über deine Hut. Herr dem Scheit holdlich gelobt und auf den ersten Streich alle Seiten des Terris weh oder an die Wut. Her mit dem Schwarzbiergebot, brodelnd wie ein Feuerberg, den Schlund es mir verbrannt, ach Hopfen deine Wut. Her mit dem Knacker ich befahl, hat wie ein Schwarzbiergebot, brodelnd wie ein Feuer.
Take that!
Yeah, no. Yeah, okay. And that would be simple since we've seen that mask before.
Take that!
Long to in other words, the memory of the survivor is alive and reliable. Only you can try to make that sound positive. The mask was found in its chest for 7 days. That doesn't explain why the gentleman's wearing it now. Now something the matter, our guest's true identity. Oh, the gentleman is unconscious. We only excuse ourselves in advance to gently lift the mask. Oh. Well. Yeah. Yep. I don't believe it. Father. Out of fairness, it's fears are large and breathing hazard. There's a sister. It is him. I love this. Oh. Logic and reasoning or just looking and saying. Touche, both. You know, they get to the last part. Hide the coffee. I don't think so. Oh, wow. Yes, yes. I don't think so. Not the way I'm looking at it. Points are poking enough. I am sure it's most memory accounting. Anyway, Father would never. There must be some reason Iris. Perhaps Iris is trying hard to get.
Take that!
It has to be the metal chest. Yes, the reason for your deal with the metal chest. An excellent observation for upon a close inspection, it somehow is different from chest. It's locked up all times, yet now it's caught. Eventually, this has something to do with your refusal to speak out. It's simply a matter of instinct to speak, I'm sure. They had need to open the chest. Oh, I... No, they don't. KO! And KO! It's a song. It's a song. Early. And oh, why that's funny. You can make all the jokes you want here. He said, no. Oh, Harley, I told you not to open it. So you found your voice, nerd. Oh, in other words, what happened clearly reveals the truth here. Yes, the reason for your silence is now. Something is different than usual in the dance deception you perform, Mr. Johnson. He's left alone as the ball on the floor. I'm going to have to dance in the part that's solo. Anyway, I'm going to get the ball this way. Now then. Oh, you mean... Is it on something? A man needs to point a finger at the decollator. Oh, we better examine Iris more closely. I don't think you need to say that. Yep, it's the key. Yes, the reason for your silence up until now is to keep behind your back. When Mr. Soames thrown into the air before. You called out something in your mouth. Yes. Something that's key in your mouth. Key to the chest. So it becomes clear as your source's graphic demonstration, but we can only imagine what happened here. Right. So Professor Matoga opened the metal chest only to be punched in the air. And landed sprawl on the stage. Oh wait, that doesn't explain all the problems. Why is the side of the scarf and have a key of a wall? Why is Mom's always moved? Oh, for the curious details, I can think of one explanation. Very little miracle. Isn't that my Iris? Oh. Concerning how the room was arranged, the whole impulse took place. My brother lately was unaware. The mask flung into the air and landed on his face fell back. And the teacups turning in the air and then caught on the unconscious. You mean to say that the saddleless part is actually the tablecloth? It's the detective. Good, I'll place the mark as detective. And there we go. Iris, you're right. First coffee tea.
Objection!
The final episode here on my side. Mr. Sean. Back to my dad. Iris, you clearly hiding a great secret. She is. What looks over her face? Yourself might be. Many things have now been broken here, but now the deductions have taken a different direction. Iris doesn't seem to be trying to hide the cup anymore. In other words, the great secret is hiding somewhere. Let's put the observation skills, the final. There we go.
Take that!
were attempting to send that what that came from. Iris, as you know very well, nothing escapes the attention of the detective. Oh no. We visited Scotland Yard's autopsy laboratory earlier today. And Dr. Gray informed us, that the autopsy report claimed that Zyke had gone missing. Not by Zeke's. Yes, I do recall. That some years ago, I asked to see a report in question at UCB. Weren't you, Iris? It was you, Mars. You repaired. You stole those papers. You were out there. I'm sorry. Oh. Oh boy. Truth. It was me having enough thought and predicted a booby trap chest. But it caught me fully off guard. It was nearly late consulting the guy. Sorry, Hurley. So you mean this autopsy report? It really is. Yes, it took from the lab, even though I knew it was very important. Was there something about that troubled you, Iris? Not exactly. It's something I've been looking for. I saw this report and I saw the writing on it. You knew it was Daddy's. The writing. Your father's writing. How do you really? You mean? Iris. It must be something hard for you to talk. Permit me for an interruption, my dear friends. Mr. Solis, what is it? It feels as a poor unconscious man fell on the seat. Someone... Father? Perhaps we should get our guests somewhere peaceful and rest. There's a photo. Yes. Will you find time to let him to your bed? It is very best at least make him comfortable. Oh, you're so worse. I hope it gets him up. Oh, no. I managed to think you won't think you have it. Would you... Because there's no better way to make the professor comfortable than try... I wonder, perhaps that would be the limit. That was the limit. Maybe Jones made himself scarce. Iris to give him talk more freely. We must take a to talk to Iris and find out what's going on. What's going on, Iris? Would you like to tell us about this, Iris? About your father? I'm sure I told you before tonight, Daddy used to be Hurley's partner. Yes, and that note about the case that they solved together inside the metal chest. That's right, Hurley told me, you see. He said that Daddy's somewhere far away now, so we can't meet. That's one of describing it. And why secretly unlocked the chest, I read the papers inside. I started to build up the picture of my daddy in my head. Well, that's obviously only natural. You're just like the other girl your age. I thought that's the professor of medical science. So, I studied, so I took like too. Well, that's only natural, I suppose. And that's the fact you are not quite like other girls your age, though. There was one thing I could never find out. Daddy's name. Oh, his name wasn't you saw this autopsy report. You finally managed to work it out, right? Is that right? Yes. So that was the handwriting on the report caught her eye. The autopsy report. When I saw the writing on the report, I could hardly believe it. I know that handwriting. I thought it myself. It's because you're the same writing. It was the same writing as you've seen in your father's case notes. Exactly. I was desperate to compare the two properly. I needed the casino mind by side. But I asked the doctor in the library, but I was told I can't take the report away. Even worse, I was told that it was the first. That was the first and last time we'd be allowed to even look at it. There. So you decide to steal it. When I compared the autopsy remarks with the case notes, there was no doubt that the handwritings were exactly the same. It's a daddy's son. And the signature on the corner at the bottom of the autopsy report. Read by Dr. John H. Wilson. Now that's finally when I found out. I let Daddy's name. So I see. Since then, I call myself artist. Oh, that's one of the only idea. Writing the stories about Daddy's excellent time with Harley. I decided there, then I write the Adventures of Harley songs. Oh, Iris, I have no idea stories have quite such deep and personal significance for you. I can see why the autopsy report is such important to her now. And that's why she was prepared to write the law and get it now, man. I have to apologize, Iris. This is really my fault. Really. I promise you until the right. I kept the details about your father a secret. I know. I've been very naughty. I'll take the office right back to Corey. I promise. Yes, we'll go together, I think. And let me look after it for you until we get there. Let me look at that. Oh, Iris. Yeah. Time of death. 9 p.m. and midnight. Death from a single stab wound from the heart to the heart. Other significant external wounds inactive at the time in a duel. Additional notes: recent scarlet ink stains visible on the hand, on the left ring finger, on the right hand. No documents in the correspondence was found. Wow. Vital evidence recovered from the victim's stomach during the autopsy. Critic Inspector Gregson on attention to Dondre. There are no internal trauma. I'll see you later. Or Iris, she must be feeling awful. I know Mr. Solms is here for her, but still. Ah! What? How? What's the meaning of this, Mr. Solms? Oh boy. What's going on? Oh dear me. So, you notice, I see. What? That would be... What's all the matter, Mr. Sato? You turn white as a sheet. It's this autopsy report, Mr. Nardo. One from 10 years ago. The writing isn't Dr. Wilson's at all. Whoa, hello! Huh? What do you mean? How would possibly... Hey, can you all stop, posting that stuff on my stuff, please? Please, because it will get flagged. Because I know this writing very well. Its writing is my father's. Oh! What? That's October's. Indeed, it is true. It's true. You know, I didn't know this. No, you didn't know. What on earth does it mean, Mr. Solms? That's the idea of certainly forming in my mind. It's an extraordinarily hard belief. Please, you have to explain. One sec, I'll be right back. You two want to go out? Autopsy support's writing. So, this autopsy report was actually penned by Professor McDowell? That makes no sense. How is it possible? Surely. Not possible, my dear fellows. Pray to take a deep breath and think. Yes, you're right. In some ways, it actually makes a great deal of sense. It does. 10 years ago, it was when Father returned to Japan after a extended study tour in Britain. And prior to his return, where was Mr. Makatoba, Dr. Makatoba engaged? Of course, he was an assistant at Dr. Wilson's laboratory learning about forensic science. And an assistant, he would have had aided with the section work, right? Making detailed notes, as well as assemble the full autopsy report. Once it was completed, would be his. In other words, the only Dr. Wilson in the report would be his in the end. I see. So Iris got the wrong end of the stick. She saw the assumed whole report and had written the. But it's very understandable, of course. What a complicated situation. Her partner. thinking about it, what we all know about you, Mr. Holmes, comes to the publish of your story's exploits. Yes, the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, written by ours. And we really have no way of knowing what fact and what fiction. What's troubling for you, my dear fellows, I'm sure. It's about time, I suppose, this supposed partner of yours, did he really exist or not? Ah, but come straight to the point, I see. Please come straight to answer. I believe Iris explained in her one of her installments. He was my trusted comrade and the only person I could truly call a friend. That partner of yours truly make a record of your early cases. And are his notes really stored inside that mail chest? Absolutely, my dear Reno. Absolutely. So, where is your partner now? Well, we rarely meet. You see, he lives on the other side of the world. Whoa! Right, it's the opposite report. And the records, all your cases were penned by the same hand. And the autopsy report was written, though not signed, by your famous partner. There would be only a logical conclusion. Pray, impress me. Your partner wouldn't have to be Eugene Mikatova. In other words, Mr. Zada's father. Pardon my words, Mr. Naruto? Yes? You are coming along wonderfully. You hit right on the method of last. You finally grasped the art of reduction. You mean to say... That's what I introduce you to. You. My great friend and partner, Mr. Katova. Professor Katova. Here's a plot twist. Does mean... oh, no, my dear. That's all. Oh, of course, sorry. That's obvious too much to take it. I would say, though, how my friend tend to worldwide celebrity with such great mystery solver and the great mystery of all. Mr. Naruto for some reason mad. Oh, for him. Was it again, Mr. Kato? 16 years ago, Holmes. Ah, yes, right. 16 years ago. We arrived in Japan with Cicero and Genshin. It was in search of the lodging close to the hospital and some comfort rooms reasonable price. Rent was revolutionarily high in that particular area. That's right, so I decided I need someone to share the lodging with. And fortunately introduced him. Find himself in a similar situation. I was a callow fellow back then, a mere shadow of the great detective you see before you. I was working in the hospital chemical laboratory at the time, indulging in curiosity and a little game. And then the situation cohabitated led us to pursuing the cases together, you see. Hard to believe, it was a mere 6 years ago. It was a mere 6 years we had a great many adventures. But in the last year, Mikatova stayed in Britain and the most infamous case of presented itself. That case which you're rather familiar with yourselves, the professor killings. After the trial, Cicero and I were summoned back home. Hardly surprising, given that circumstances. So here we have it. And then, all the details recorded by my Chronicle remains in the... That's just amazing. Professor Mikatova is really Mr. Holmes' famous partner. Great to see you here. I'm very proud to learn that you are the great detective part. But nevertheless, there's another sound. What's that? You know very well what it is. Ah. Oh. I should have seen this coming, I suppose. No, if you look at the age-wise, it's different. Oh. That's all that. You're warrior. You're coming along wonderfully well. You see, you finally grasp him. Huh? Oh, there. Oh. Well, that's very complicated. Yeah, me. You earned it. You earned that one. That's right now. That's the home. Yes, we go. Why am I doing right now? That is obvious. My partner and I have a student. So, let's see. Go. Oh, full later. Yeah. He hasn't changed. You haven't changed one iota, have you? I really visit our home after 10 years. When I opened that chest, I left the massage at a quiet and as if it were beginning to regain confidence, I plunged into all that. Oh, there, please. Oh, ooh, what, out? Very well, speaking player. No, so be it. That's the best of luck tomorrow. Yes, Naruto. Good luck tomorrow battle and reaching a decision about whether to go back to Japan, I suppose. Oh boy.
So much happened that day that I barely knew what to do with myself. It would only be later that I'd come to realize how amidst the chaos I'd unleashed were all the clues I needed to finally unearth the truth. And that all the turmoil was necessary to give me the resolve to see everything through.
And it's been a long several months coming. Yeah, this case has the turnabout for the turnabout cosmic tournament, and we got the legendary pair trophy. Yeah, I will say this case, I really am gonna hold my personal thoughts on that until next time. And tomorrow we will be gonna be like not an all day thing, but I am gonna be on this case for a bit tomorrow because I want to end this game and move on. But I will say it's been a long time going. So far, I'm holding my final verdict until next case, but I will say this is probably one of the. I can definitely see why people say this is probably this game is one of the best. But I have to say, c'est la vie. With that said, I'll be back tomorrow, guys, with the next case. We're ending this. The resolve of Marinowski. I have heard this case is extremely long. And there's like, and I know, like, what I do know is that the trial does have no room for most, to be continued. So if we hit the 3 hour mark, then, which we're going over right now, about to go over, um, then I will call it a, thing, unless there's more to be continued. Until then, I'm Uncle 3. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. See you next time.